as that estrogen level decreases, a number of other things happen in terms of what's going on in our brain. And then when we start to lose that, it takes some of those filters out. So some of those neurochemicals caused us to be people pleaser or to keep our anger under control.
That was Ellen Scherr, and this is Roar. Hi, everybody. This is Danielle Davies, the host of Roar. I think a lot of women in my age are hitting a moment, usually a midlife moment, where they realize they just can't do things the way they used to. Not because they don't want to try harder, but because their tolerance is gone. Their patience is gone, and their ability to perform is gone. Ellen Scherr is a therapist, coach, and writer whose work has helped thousands of women make sense of that moment. Her Substack, Life Branches, grew from 0 to over 15,000 readers almost overnight when she wrote about what she calls the great unfucking. What I appreciate about Ellen's perspective is how grounded it is in real life, not fixing women, but helping them understand what's changing and why. Today, we're talking about women in midlife, why it can feel like everything's falling apart, why that doesn't mean something's wrong, and how this phase can actually become one of the most honest, powerful, and freeing time of our lives. Ellen, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just dive in here. A lot of women hit midlife. I know this has happened to me. You feel like something is wrong with them. I actually had a friend a couple of years ago who was like, there's something wrong. All I feel is rage. And we laughed. But, patience is gone. Tolerance seems to be diminishing. The things that we used to spend hours. I remember when my son was in preschool, I had no problem slicing strawberries and making them all mice to turn in. And now I would be like, just under no circumstances would this be something I would engage in. From what you see, what is actually happening?
So what we're not aware of is all the chemical changes that are going on in our brain. And so that's why we think there's something wrong with us, because doctors kind of poo-poo us away, oh, honey, you're just going through perimenopause and just, kind of deal with it. But no one usually explains what's really going on. And at least when I was going through it, it wasn't out in the public as much as it is now. There's probably more information and research for women to go to learn. But for some reason, nobody's talking about it. It's still kind of not shameful, but unless it's a close friend or your mother, you're not really going to talk about it. It's not something you're going to go to work and go, yeah, I really had night sweats last night.
Well, and you talk about the changes, and I think that there has been, which I am greatly appreciative of, a big push in like our modern conversation about hormone therapy, or that menopause is like the physical symptoms of menopause.
That's the challenge, is it's not the same thing for every woman. It's so across the board, which makes it even more difficult for us to educate ourselves.
Isn't it true? So many doctors do prescribe anti-anxiety medication at that point, because that's like the first presenting thing.
Yeah, because they're not paying attention. They're just like, okay, she's giving me all these symptoms. I've got a lot of anxiety. My temper is out of control, whatever it might be. So yeah, first thing typically an MD is going to do is take out their prescription pad and write antidepressant, anti-anxiety, whatever it might be. But that's not what it's about.
What is it about? I mean, why do we feel like we're losing our minds even when nothing is wrong on paper? I mean, that's I think the part that is like a little bit chilling, when doctors do say, even well-intentioned ones say, this is totally normal. Like, are you sure? Because I'm enraged. I mean, I know that my friend who mentioned the rage didn't think it was normal. That's why she was talking about it. Why does it feel like that so often? Like
because on another post I wrote, I made a comment that said, estrogen is the popular girl at the party.
Oh, yes.
And when she leaves, everyone leaves.
Can you explain that for us?
We underestimate all the different neurochemicals that are going on that estrogen coordinates and synthesizes with other neurochemicals. So as that estrogen level decreases, a number of other things happen in terms of what's going on in our brain. And then if when we start to lose that, it takes some of those filters out. So some of those neurochemicals were caused us to be people pleaser or to keep our anger under control. Now all of a sudden you strip that away, and what do you have left? You're sitting there dumbfounded, like, oh my God, what's going on with me? It's because you don't have that to help control those processes in your brain anymore. And so it's not it's a severe hormonal thing. It's funny. Someone typically the men have not responded really well on the comments.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I'm
Okay.
some feminist now or something. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But one gentleman said, "Well, I wish women would stop blaming it on the hormones." But they don't understand that's what it is. It is the hormones. So
Yeah. And
they think this is like a hall pass at school, to give us the right to do something. But our brain literally is changing, and we can't help it.
okay, real quick. If you're listening and thinking more women should be hearing conversations like this, the best way to support the show is just to follow or subscribe wherever you are. It really does help it reach more people. Thanks so much. Okay, back to the show. It's crazy how it's like that change with that with the estrogen decline and everything else that changes affects so many facets of us. Last year I was in Hawaii taking my son to school, and it was super hot. Like, it was ungodly hot, and I was not yet on HRT therapy, and I was having hot flashes and just a bunch of different things. And he was like, if you blame one more thing on perimenopause, because I was like, I can't do it. I have perimenopause. Or I was like, my knees hurt because of perimenopause. I'm tired because of everything was back to that. But it really is so all encompassing.
It is.
It's not a hall pass, but it does explain a lot of what's going on.
Yeah. We still as an adult, still have to manage how we maintain and control our anger when we're feeling rage. Okay. But it becomes more challenging, something maybe we're not used to doing before. So now, before, my anger level was, I get angry and I went from a 0 to 3. Okay. Now all of a sudden I'm going from 0 to 10. Now what do I do? Like, holy shit. Like, this is not me. Like, what is going on here? And the challenge is most men don't understand that, which is very common, like for spouses or partners to make those comments.
Yeah, and to be like a little surprised. And I feel like between that and culturally, the kind of invisibility aspect that happens to women after they've hit a certain age, we're culturally taught to see midlife as a decline.
Absolutely.
Why is that such a damaging story for women? And what's really a truer one, another version of that? Because you talk about that it's not necessarily a decline.
No, I used it as an opportunity to change my whole entire life. But we're not taught that we can use this time now. There's so many advantages we have at a certain point in our life in terms of experience and wisdom and what we really in our heart want to do versus what we thought we did or what we did because society or our parents thought we should. I got my degree in finance. I hate finance. It was because I could get a good job.
So what are some of these changes you're seeing, like from your perspective, or what, when you said they're kind of secret, well, I don't know if you said secret, but I feel like they're almost like secret powers. Like you hit a certain age and you've got all this stuff you didn't know that could be, that you could feel sad. And there's parts of that too, right? For who you were, but there's also this new, you? What are some of the things you're seeing from some of patients? And obviously, no HIPAA violation here.
Yeah.
Just are you seeing people start to embrace that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm helping push them to embrace that. So, for instance, I just had a client. I still have a client. She's 47, not married, hasn't been married, living in California, and hates her life. Go, well, what are you doing? I don't know. I got a job and blah blah blah. The whole thing. I said, well, what are you really? She goes, I really want to move to Colorado. So I just pushed her to move to Colorado. I think she's moving in another couple weeks.
Oh my gosh. So it's like taking the anger and the feeling unaligned and
A lot of it's fear. And I help people with that fear because, it's human nature for all of us to go, nah, I can't do that. I got a job, my bad, blah, blah. We think of all the negative stuff, what happens. We do the what ifs, which are the kiss of death in mental health. And what if this happens? What if she's going? She doesn't have a job. She's not going to be able to work remote from her job. So she's scared to death.
But do you tell people to embrace these things anyway?
Yeah, I said, you're a smart, intelligent woman. You've got a lot of work experience. You'll find something.
That sounds really scary.
It is. She's petrified.
But she's going to do it anyway.
She's doing it anyway. So what we decided to do was she take a long weekend there to test to see.
Okay.
And so over the holidays, that's what she did. I've never seen her so happy on the next call. And she was beaming. She was walking the dog. She took her dog with her, walking the dog, met all these people. And I said, okay, well, there's your decision. Pack up.
So it's like harnessing this fear and there's all these feelings and channeling. And that's what your main area of expertise is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like there's nothing. Is it scary? Of course it is. Okay. Do I have a magic wand to know that she's going to find a job? No, I don't. Okay. And I can't guarantee her that. But I wouldn't advise somebody to do something if I didn't feel comfortable. They had enough skills and experience and motivation to do something else. And she does. And now I know it's going to happen because she's manifesting it in the universe because she's going to be so happy in another 30 days when she's in her new place in Colorado.
Yeah.
That her motivation. So in addition to that, we're also looking at her doing a whole change of career.
So her discontent. So you're basically saying like, if there's a discontent that happens in midlife, is it, first of all, is that universal? Is everybody feeling like a midlife discontent?
No. Mm-mm.
But when they are, you're helping people reframe it?
Yes, because it's natural for, especially as women, for us to push it down. To say, no, we're too old. No, we can't do that. My kids are still home. No, can't do that financially, whatever it might be. Okay. You're always going to have that negative part that our brains inherently have what's called a negativity bias. And so we're always the first thoughts are always going to be negative, whether we like it or not. That's just inherent in our DNA. So we have to overcome that. And so I also help women overcome what's called cognitive distortions, overcoming those things that stop us, those things in your brain that say, whoa, no, can't do that because what if this happens? So I teach people how to shut that down to move forward. And that's the biggest challenge we have in mental health is we let our thoughts control us because our thoughts control our emotions and our emotions control our behavior. People think it's the opposite. They think we feel first, then we think something, and then we react. But that's not true. Everything starts up here.
So, I'm thinking back to that Langston Hughes poem, A Dream Deferred, and it's making me think of this woman who's going to move to Colorado or anybody who is having some kind of midlife angst that's coming to a head, and you're kind of helping them get through those thoughts to pass the fear to the real actual crux of the situation. Surely sometimes people don't do it,
Mhm.
right? Sometimes people are
Right.
like, no, I have to wait till the kids are 35 or I have grandchildren now. I'm taking care of my parents. That's like
Mhm.
a
I get
whole,
it.
you're
Right.
in that shift. What happens when those dreams are deferred or that longing isn't addressed?
Because what we do is we stuff it and think it's going to go away. And it doesn't. It just stays in our nervous system. And so that's what makes us unhappy. So there's other ways to make yourself happy and change your life without moving to a different state and changing careers.
Can you give me some of those examples?
I one client, she hasn't painted in ages. Works full time, has some young kids. I don't have the time. It's what we all say. I'm a mom. My kids are grown, but of course, I was a working mom and didn't have time either. We put our own interests and things before we put everybody else's before our own. So of course we don't have any time left over. So we use that as an excuse. So what I do is I work with, tell me what your schedule is. What are you doing? Telling me you can't find a half hour on a Saturday morning to take out a canvas and paint for a half hour?
So
So
those changes can be small changes. They don't have to be these enormous
no,
shifts.
right. Don't have to be enormous. Most of the time it's not. Okay. In my case, it was because it was thrown at me. It wasn't like I made a decision. So when I turned 46, I had decided to change my career. I was in corporate America. I was in sales, hated every minute of it. And prior to that, when it started the year before, I started trying to think of what I wanted to do. I had no idea. And that's another thing most women we don't know. I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I've been doing this for 25 years and I hate it. So now what? So I took a year back and forth, finally decided to go back to get to go to grad school and get my
And
master's.
I'm sorry, how old were your kids at this point?
My daughter was 11 and my son was 14.
Okay, so you were in the thick of it still. Okay.
Yeah. And so it took me a long time, a year to decide that. Had to take out like $40,000 loan. And I've got two young kids. Okay. I didn't make the decision lightly. And 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks after I started classes, I'd only been to classes two times. And my husband of 18 years decided he didn't want to be married anymore and he left.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay. So
here I
now
am,
everything's fractured and shifted.
everything. Like I'm shocked. The kids are shocked. It's out of nowhere. I don't know what I'm going to do financially. I just started school. I haven't been in school in 20 plus years, whatever it was. Okay. So it was a basket case.
Because
It was
you
like, F you. Okay. I am not letting this put a damper on my life. This is what I want to do. Somehow, some way, I'm going to figure out a way to do it. Don't ask me how. I look back on it, how I did it, because he wasn't supporting me. I don't know how I did it. And the universe decided to put me in perimenopause at the same time.
wow. So you are speaking from so much experience when you advise women.
Yeah. So I made it through three life events at the same time.
Well, and there's obviously in your case, in so many cases, well, in your case, because there's a separation too from your past then current life, there's real grief there, right? I mean, this
Mhm.
wasn't something you were signing up for, but oftentimes, even if it is something you sign up for, there's some grief, not for who we are becoming, but for who we used to be. I
Mhm.
mean, sometimes I look back at my little self making strawberry mice and I'm like, oh my God, she was adorable. Like,
Mhm.
what was she thinking? How do women make peace with that without turning it into shame or stuckness or
Mhm.
just prolonged grief?
It's interesting you said that because when well, I have a new product that's coming out that's going to be an assessment primarily just for midlife women. It should come out in another couple weeks.
Oh, good. Okay.
And that is going to help women determine where they're at. Meaning, what I hear a lot is, I'm stuck. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what I want. I don't know what to do. So this will give more clarity to that. Then I'm offering a consulting package that will, an 8-week package that will then help you lead you to where you need to be. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because the first thing I tackle in that program is dealing with grief. Because the biggest thing that keeps us from moving forward is the woulda, coulda, shouldas. And the grief that we don't allow ourselves to feel to move on. I hear it all the time. Wow, I wish I wouldn't have done this. Wow, wish I should have done that. Okay. And we're still so focused on that, it clouds our judgment to be able to move forward. You can't move forward if you're still grieving. Yeah. Do I sometimes say, wow, how many years did I waste in corporate America and finance and sales and hated every minute of it when I could have been doing this all along? No, I got to put that out of my mind. It's done. I can't go backwards. All I can do is say, luckily, I realized it at a point in my life, and I've never been happier.
So we've got to get past these things, though.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
is part of that just acknowledging it? I mean, how do you?
Part of it is learning how to control those thought processes.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's what you can help with.
Mm-hmm.
Got
Yeah.
it.
I have a technique that I teach. Actually, I put it in one of my posts. That
And
helps.
Ellen, I'm going to link to all your posts in the show notes
Okay.
too, so we'll have them.
But that those eliminating those cognitive distortions, because those synapses and neurotransmitters automatically connect without you paying attention to it. So based on your childhood, life experiences, social, whatever, okay, those are automatic in your brain. The challenge is most of them are unhealthy. And so we have to undo that. And the best part is, number of years ago, 20 plus, scientists uncovered that our brain is actually neuroplastic. And so that was such a great discovery, because it said just because those connections connect in a certain way doesn't mean they have to stay that way. We do have the ability to change that. So if I grew up as a people pleaser, I don't have to stay a people pleaser. I can work on those thoughts that create that emotion and that behavior and undo that.
That is so interesting, because I think a lot of times people are like, going forward, if you're a parent or a spouse, you're in a relationship and you're a parent, you're running so much on empty. Mm-hmm. You are who you are. You don't have time to think about neuroplasticity or changing your brain. You're thinking about packing a lunch and getting somebody out the door. I mean, there's a lot of years that go by where you feel like you're running on a treadmill. Mm-hmm. But when you finally come out on the other side, I feel like so much of us are like, well, now it's been like this for 40 some years. I'm stuck this way. Like, this is who I am. But mm-hmm. You're saying it is changeable. Do people need a therapist to make these changes, or are there books or their practices?
I meditation? The technique. You do it on your own. I still do it. So one of my biggest mine used to be negative thinking. So based on crappy childhood, life experiences, my glass was always half empty. And when I got to grad school, I said, not a healthy way to go through life. So I did some research and uncovered what needs to be done, and just kind of put it together in a way that people could manage it and change it. And I still use it today. My biggest one in life right now is the what ifs. Well, okay. What if this happens? Well, I can't do that, because what if that happens? So anytime I do that, I have to train my brain to shut those thoughts down.
Oh, wow. You're so cognizant of it. That's awesome.
It takes a long time to get there. Not easy.
I bet, because that's why so many of us think we're just locked in as who we are. But this kind of almost lines up, like, we can change our brains through work. Obviously, it takes a long time, but there's mm-hmm. also the part, again, with the great unfucking, where some parts you're like, I don't like this. I want to change it about myself. And mm-hmm. then other parts you're like, I don't like this and I'm going to change this because this no longer makes me happy. Whether that's the color of your hair, the
Mhm.
garden you have in your backyard, the car you drive, or even friendships and relationships. And I feel like a lot of times you see relationships under a microscope.
Mhm.
Why do some relationships deepen in midlife while others fall away? And what do you see people who are like ready to shift that
Mhm.
dynamic? What have they kind of figured out that the rest of us haven't?
Well, what happens is sometimes we go overboard. As women, we go gun ho, like, I'm going to stop being a people pleaser. I'm saying no to everything, whatever. Okay. You can't go so far to one extreme where the people that are important into your life are like, who is this person and what is going on? Um, but you have to remember in a relationship that men don't really understand what's going on. Women don't know enough to communicate what's going on. And so, as that estrogen and other neurochemicals are decreasing, it allows us to all of a sudden say, you know what? I'm tired of watching the football game on Sunday. I don't watch football on Sunday anymore. And we didn't have our brain actually was covered with all those other things that still enabled us to keep in that same pattern. So
Okay.
it's a combination of our thoughts, where we are in life, what we've experienced, and what it is that you want to change. What are you tired of? And I didn't realize how many people suffer from people pleasing. And that's inherent in most women. Think about how we're raised. Well,
Be nice.
yeah.
Sugar and
That's why I
spice.
couldn't make it in corporate America. I can't even tell you how many times I got fired because I
Oh,
opened my mouth. I questioned.
oh, because you weren't nice. Okay, because you weren't being nice. You weren't being the people pleaser.
Hmm.
It's funny. I'm the opposite. If somebody knocks into me, I find myself apologizing.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm
Well,
sorry that I stood
so do
here. And,
I.
and you have to learn to move past that. But how do women tell the difference between, you talked about going all the way, like we'll be like, and that's it. There's no more of this. How do you tell the difference between disengaging and getting clearer?
That's just a practice. That's just learning how to do it. It's learning what to say and how to manage it. Okay, so it's a practice. It's a habit. You learn the habit. So you're used to saying one of the things women do at work all the time, and not just because you bumped into somebody, I do that too, but preface things with, I'm sorry. What are they sorry for? So I teach women how to get out of that habit. It's very demeaning.
Yeah.
Why are we apologizing? I'm sorry, but I need to ask you this question or whatever it is. Okay. That's just who we are. But part of that is society forces us to go into that box, which is why I never fit in that box because I'd say, no, this is not working. They don't like people challenging. They just want people to just do.
Yeah, yeah, and especially if you're raised as a woman in this culture, that's typically the role that we've had as
Hmm.
like nurturer, taking care of things, apologizing, all
Hmm.
those estrogen happy
Yeah.
things, right?
Our
So,
oxycontin and our dopamine and our estrogen, all that plays into what we are brought up with as a society.
so when you see women start to to kind of embrace this version of themselves, women who've spent decades achieving or proving and pushing and pulling and molding themselves into the societal box by way of their fabulous estrogen. Maybe they're they're using that to kind of help them along with that. What does success start to look like in this phase when the estrogen starts to go and we're like kind of owning a little bit more of our rougher edges or the parts that maybe aren't so nurturing? I mean,
Hmm.
we all are multifaceted.
Right.
This is just one part of us that's like over softening.
Hmm. Right. That's why we get at some point, not every woman, a lot of women are probably content with how their life is and what's working for them. But Other times when we go in perimenopause, it activates this the effort mode. Like, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of living my life in the way other people think I should be living it. But a lot of things go into that. So, for example, 5 years ago, I decided that I was on vacation in Florida and came back to Chicago, and I said to my kids, "I'm moving to my happy place."
And what did they say?
So I lost it. So they go, "Okay." So I bought a house online. I never saw it. They thought I was nuts.
And are you in Florida now?
Well, so then I decided to come back only because my son is giving me grandchildren.
Okay.
So it's funny because I said to him, I don't know if I would have moved, like knowing that, but you weren't married at the time. So, of course, I got a typical, response. Well, Mom, what'd you think was going to happen? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. Just moved into my happy place. And so I decided it was a hard choice. In August, I made a decision that I needed to move back to Chicago so I could be part of my grandkids' lives.
Wow.
So last Sunday, I bought a condo in Florida.
So you have it just for your happy place?
Yeah, I'm going to leave 2 weeks from now.
Wait, are you leaving for good, or you're going to just go back and forth now?
Just go back and forth. I don't know how I'm going to do it financially. I'm not a millionaire. I don't have a trust fund. I'm just determined I'm going to make it work because I hate the winters here. So why should it be miserable?
Quick pause, because if you're listening to Roar, I have a feeling you're exactly the kind of person I write for. I send out a Substack newsletter where I go a little deeper, more personal stories, behind the scenes thoughts, and honestly, some of the things we don't always say out loud here. If you want to stay connected between episodes, you can find it at roarwithdanielledavies.substack.com. I'd love to have you there. And now, back to your regularly scheduled podcast. Ellen, I love that you're just digging into it, because I was about to be like, well, how can women start, if your energy is becoming precious, or because first of all, the other part is we're realizing life is finite, right? We know this, from day one, but as you get to, I remember when I turned 50, I was like, I've always said I want to live to 120.
I don't, but good for you.
But even then I was like, oh God, let's be realistic here. Really, I at best have 50 years left. And obviously that's a really big, outlandish number. But so realistically, we don't have, we're on the scale moving downwards, right? Even if we are living the best, most healthy versions of ourselves. So you start to realize time is finite, and your life as the biggest resource you've got is finite. So you want, your energy's precious, your time is precious. You want to pick and choose. And I was going to say, how do people do it more intentionally without blowing up their lives? But I think the blowing up your life version sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, I won't even have a bed when I get there because I moved all my furniture back here. So I guess I'll go to Walmart and buy an air mattress for a while.
So you're just going to make it work?
Just going to make it work.
Are you afraid? Sorry?
No, because I know that's what I want. I know that's what's going to make me happy. I'm counting days till I can go see sunshine and warmth.
Were you as apt to believe in yourself to this ability, or believe in just the universe protecting you, God protecting you, whoever's protecting you, yourself protecting you? Were you as apt to have that kind of faith in the unknown before you hit menopause?
No, I think my life shakeup at 47 did it, or 46 did it. Okay, that shook my world.
But what's the end result? It shook your world, but
it shook my world. But I didn't give up. I didn't quit school. I didn't say, no, the cards are not in my favor. Universe is giving me a raw deal. Okay, I'm going to have to go back in. And at some point, my spouse, ex-husband wasn't paying anything. I had to go back in corporate America. I had to give up counseling for a while because then I was trying to do that at night while I was working full time. It was a lot. So I had to make a lot of sacrifices. But my philosophy, maybe it comes from my mom, is you can do anything you want to do.
Well, you're like a perfect example, but do you see this happening other places too? I want to ask you, when midlife goes well, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people stop fighting it, start embracing, hey,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this didn't go the way I was doing it, or this didn't go the way I planned,
Mm-hmm.
and or it did, and I'm done with that part now, and now I'm moving on. What do you see on the other side? And like I said, you're a perfect example. You seem really excited. You're happy. You're going to your happy place. You're just embracing and in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you see from other women who have kind of gotten to that point where they've gotten over that midlife hurdle and
Mm-hmm.
realized it's an awesome place to be?
Yeah, they're living their authentic life. If you go on to Substack, you'd be shocked how many older women, older than me, that are writing books and now posting on Substack and starting businesses. And yeah, like you said, you get to a certain point in life. That's why when is it crazy to buy a condo in Florida? Probably, but it's like you said, the years become more finite.
Ellen, I have one last question for you. If you
Mhm.
could give, and I feel like you just answered it, but I'll just ask it anyway. If you could give women in midlife permission to stop doing just one thing and
Mhm.
start doing one other thing, what would it
Mhm.
be?
Be to live your life the way you want to. Do what you is in your heart and soul instead of trying to please or do what society thinks we should do or live our life a certain way. Yeah, and most people aren't going to do crazy stuff like I do.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you're a great sounding board for it, because then suddenly spending 30 minutes painting on a Saturday morning really doesn't seem that extreme.
Yeah, what's 30 minutes? We just are so used to putting ourselves last. And I think, again, that's just inherent as a woman. Men typically don't do that. They go do their thing. They take care of the house and help with the house and the kids and whatever, but they're really focused on themselves. That's how their brain operates. Women, we're not in tune. That's not how our brain normally is wired. And that's why it's so unnerving when we go into perimenopause, because all of a sudden some of that unwiring goes haywire. Like, oh, what's going on here? I used to be happy. I've been doing this job for 30 years, but it sucks. I need to leave.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. I feel like you're just like you're speaking for so many women, and please keep up the Substack. Don't stop. Keep going,
Okay.
because it's such a great resource. I'll have everything, all of your posts are free. Your Substack posts are free. So I'll have all of that linked in the show notes. And then obviously like the program and the courses that you offer, consulting, that's different, but I'll link to that as well, so that
Thank
if
you.
anybody feels like taking next steps, they can. But
Okay.
thanks for being an inspiration. We all appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
That's Ellen Scherr. And if someone in your life needs to hear this, send it to them. In the meantime, follow Roar wherever you're listening and grab the newsletter link in the show notes. Next week is our season finale with Robin Cohen, founder of the Sandy Rollman Ovarian Cancer Foundation, a conversation about what women do when the worst happens. We'll see you then.